Corla. This isn't my maiden speech, but it's my first speech for the 33rd Dáil. So can I start by thanking the people of Sligo Leitrim for electing me to this House, and like every other TD in this place, I can't wait to get stuck in. Also, it was interesting when I looked to my right there a few minutes ago, I could see Matt Carty. It was precisely the same in the European Parliament. So it's interesting, both of us should be back here. And in that context, while he's not my party, can I take this opportunity to wish Chris McManus, a fellow Sligo man who is replacing Matt in the European Parliament, the very best. He represents all of us, and I want to wish him well. It's another point, I suppose, which I'll find unusual, is that I have 10 whole minutes, which I'm not sure I'll fill. In the European Parliament, it was 1 or at most 2 minutes. But anyway, here goes. So, as a former MEP, I think it's interesting that my first opportunity to speak in Dáil Éireann is on the European budget, but this time from the other side of the fence, as it were. And one of the issues for discussion at the European Council was the MFF, or the budget, which is approximately 1.95 trillion. It seems like a lot of money, but in fact it's just about 1% of what member states spend. And the whole idea of the budget is that by acting collectively, whether it's on CAP or the social fund, the regional fund, climate change, etc., that we add value. But one of my main concerns around the EU budget is the proposed cuts to the CAP. An Taoiseach Leo Varadkar said earlier today that we cannot ask farmers to do more regarding climate action and pay them less. In this country, we operate farm to fork. We have strict regulations around pesticides, animal health, and the delivery of public goods. The new Green Deal will impose significant further requirements on farmers, and unless they're paid, they will go out of business. We've heard about Mercosur earlier today and the possibility of significant tonnage of tariff-free beef entering the EU, and of course the possibility of real market disturbance under Brexit. So it's easy to see that agriculture is in an extremely precarious position, and at the very least, the most basic safety net is an adequately funded CAP. However, as I said, I am now on the other side of the fence, and the share out of CAP monies at national level is of crucial importance to farmers, and particularly those who farm in the part of the country that I represent. Our current Minister for Agriculture said that convergence will pause during transition. Now, that's unfair and unjust. Convergence is a process that must be ongoing. Many EU countries have full convergence, and the Commission proposed up to 75%. Ireland is still at 60%. Full convergence would deliver significantly for farmers in Sligo and Leitrim, about 10 million per annum. In Donegal, around 13 million. So it's a hugely significant contribution to the local economy. Currently, we have what's known as the Irish model, which of course was put in place under the Irish presidency and is not serving parts of the country well, because we are still using production levels from 2000 to determine current payments. It makes no sense. But an equally crucial issue is that of the eco-schemes within Pillar 1. It is proposed that they will have 30% of the budget. But right now, we have farmers implementing precisely the same greening measures on grassland throughout the entire country, but getting paid completely different amounts for doing the same work. For example, farmers can be paid as little as €50 per hectare or as much as €210 per hectare for doing precisely the same work and having the same requirements. This is completely unjust, and a flat rate payment for all farmers would be around €80 per hectare, and we must ensure in the new cap in this House, when we agree, that that is part of it. This situation was unfair day one, and it is still unfair because the new eco schemes will impose significant requirements on all farmers, and it's imperative that all farmers are paid equally for their equal work. So, as I said, it would be unthinkable that farmers in different parts of Ireland would be discriminated against on this basis. Finally, to finish with the cap, the last time out we did not fully co-fund Pillar 2. I understand there were economic reasons, etc., but that absolutely must be reversed this time out. Now, another area of real concern to the part of the country that I represent is the fact that the BMW has slipped down, or in fact has been downgraded from a developed European region to a European region in transition. And this is because of a fall in our growth levels, wealth levels, etc. And I can hardly believe that it's nearly 25 years ago since I was involved in the Objective 1 campaign, and eventually that region was on the same level as the South and East, but it has now been downgraded. And a recent report by the Northern and Western Regional Assembly has shown the chronic, consistent underinvestment in that region. That must be rebalanced so that we can have balanced regional development, and that's something that must be addressed by the next government. From a European perspective, we must utilise fully any extra funding and whatever flexibility around state aid, etc., that there is there to bridge the gap. We have to be proactive. Just because some flexibility on state aid is there is fine, but we have to proactively use it. Can I say I'm also encouraged to see that the European Investment Bank will have up to €2.5 trillion for projects on climate action. And I think within the next government, we must take full advantage of this facility in order to put in place climate action measures. Obviously, some of this will be a just transition for workers in the Midlands, but elsewhere also, and where appropriate, to create new jobs in the green economy. Finally, can I say that I too have some concerns, some real concerns, around the €13 billion for security and defence. And I hear the argument made from the other side of the House that it's not necessarily about arms, etc. But I think it's very thin ice for Ireland, and I think I have concerns. But can I say that I also regret the cuts proposed to the European budget, and I want to support what seems to be an all-party stance, or certainly a many-party stance in this House, that we would be open to increasing our contributions so that the European budget can fulfil some of its objectives. And my final comment is that at home we have to take every opportunity afforded to us by the European budget, both in terms of flexibility offered and spending. Thank you.